Hello there my dear friends and welcome back to another Star Wars video. February 2026 is here. I would say it's a really strange time to be a Star Wars fan, but also kind of an exciting one, as we say goodbye to Kathleen Kennedy and we embrace Dave Filoni and Lin Brennan. But what is the future of Star Wars gonna hold, and are things really gonna change? Well, today my friends, we need to talk about the bizarre situation with Daisy Ridley, because we have more comments from her concerning the future of Rey, and it's kind of strange, we're getting mixed messages, and the whole thing doesn't really make sense. So let's dive straight in. So Daisy's been teasing something for a long time, but the only problem is she's been saying very much the same kinds of things for the last 2 or 3 years. So, the other day, I made a video titled, Daisy Ridley Reveals the Truth About Kathleen Kennedy and the Rey Movie. How she felt Kathleen Kennedy's exit was going to affect her future as Rey. And Daisy Ridley said, it's not. It's going to have no impact. And during the interview, Daisy also mentions there is something secretive in the works. She doesn't word it like that, but she does say there's a mysterious thing, and that's the exact wording that she uses, that she can't talk about. She alludes to the Star Wars news cycle being very public. We always know about the latest rumors, leaks, reports, but this time, there is something the fandom is not privy to. And I speculated it might be Star Wars Starfighter, maybe Kinberg's trilogy. However, I don't believe it's the movie announced in 2023. I don't even know if Charmin Obaid-Chinoy is still in charge of it, but there is something concerning Rey that might be in the works. And today, my friends, Daisy doubles down on this. In a separate interview with an Australian program, she says, quote, I don't know when I will be on screens, but certainly sooner rather than later. While she doesn't reveal any specifics, she nods when she's asked if there is something actively in the works. And the reason there is more weight to what Daisy is saying than you might assume is that she is credited as a producer on the movie. So it gives her a bit more say, more clout, as well as inside information, instead of just being something she's starring in, so do keep that in mind. And look, a part of me wants to say, don't read too much into this. Ever since her movie was announced 3 years ago at Celebration, she's been saying an update is coming very soon, something is on the brink of being announced, but we never get anything official. But at the same time, maybe there is a secret. Maybe she's working on something we have no idea about. Chances are, despite what Sean Levy said about cameos, what Jonathan Tropper, the screenwriter, said, it is going to be an appearance in Starfighter. But some fans are still holding on to hope it might be for the cancelled Hunt for Ben Solo. I know Disney vetoed it, but we know Disney's going to have new leadership very soon, and Dave Filoni's now co-president. Dave was among those at Lucasfilm who liked the script, and in her goodbye interview, Kathy said, if someone is willing to take the chance, to take the risk, the movie might not be dead, so you never know. But this time Daisy is adamant she's returning and soon. Another interesting possibility I want to run by you is what if she's talking about something which isn't live action? We know a big part of the future of Lucasfilm is going to be animation. More expansive stories, maybe more tales of anthologies. There were some rumblings of something with the Mandoverse. But what if, due to budgets and due to the risk, because they know most fans weren't too big on the sequels or Resistance, they're doing something post-Episode 9 in animation? And what if this connects to Starfighter and the other post-Episode 9 films? Just a thought I had. And I think the reason why it's so significant that Kathleen Kennedy finally stepped down is because, to be very blunt, as a fandom we're hoping they're gonna right a lot of those wrongs, and it starts by acknowledging and course-correcting where they went wrong. And so, how does this affect Rey? When the Rey movie was first announced in 2023, there are a couple of things about it that didn't really make sense. Number one, why bring Rey back so soon? Especially considering the backlash to the sequel trilogy and how fans were finally moving on with stuff like the Mandoverse. Why suddenly announce a Rey project? And the second part of the announcement, which to me was even more bizarre, was the choice of director in Charmin Obaid-Chinoy. And look, no shade against her, I've heard her documentaries are really good, but she doesn't have much experience in filmmaking on a massive IP like Star Wars. And to make things worse, she made comments about fandom, her activism and politics that really rubbed fans the wrong way. And so as a result, there hasn't been much excitement for a Star Wars installment. And that's the reason I've been saying as of late, if there is going to be a Rey movie or something with Rey, it's probably not going to be the Charmin Obaid-Chinoy film. I don't get the sense she's still working on the project, and in a brand new interview when she was asked about lightsaber colours, so a question not specific to the Rey movie or her work, she refused to answer, simply shaking her head and saying no, no, no. So while I do think she's still under NDA, she gives us no impression that she's still involved with the project, especially at a time where Daisy is opening up and saying something is coming very soon. It might be, but I don't think it's going to be that film. And so now, my friends, I want to posit a few theories as to what I think could be going on. There are 4 reasons, I'm not the first to highlight them, why Lucasfilm has given up on Rey's standalone. Number 1, it might have been tied to the hunt for Ben Solo. Because Daisy recently revealed she knew parts of the movie, it tells us that maybe there was a connection with what Adam Driver was working on. The second reason, which we're going to touch upon later in the video, could be due to the transition in leadership. The third reason is that Lucasfilm is trying to let the movie fade away. Due to all of the backlash and the way fans responded to the announcement, they might have quietly shelved it. And the fourth theory, which plays into the secret project, is that the entire project has changed. Maybe a new director we're not aware of. Maybe Sharmina Obaid-Chinoy, who Kathleen Kennedy hired, has been replaced. And maybe yet another writer has come in. I think all we want as Star Wars fans, whether you're a sequel fan or you didn't like the sequels, is someone who just wants to make a good Star Wars movie. Someone who comes in with the right intentions, someone who loves the franchise, or someone like Tony Gilroy who maybe wasn't a fan at first, but knows how to write compelling stories and characters. As one contributor to Star Wars Newsnet once said about Sharmina Obaid-Chinoy, they mentioned that her focus is in the wrong place and not centered in the Star Wars universe. She's not excited fans, and, they say she virtue signals, and it's never about Star Wars, and that is the problem. Instead of coming out and saying, I want to make the best Star Wars movie I can, blow the audience away, bring Star Wars back to the center of pop culture, make fans fall in love with these characters, make something groundbreaking, engaging, exciting, visually spectacular, she has said none of this. The only person really advocating for Rey is Daisy. And given the bad taste in fans' mouths after episode 9, you would think Lucasfilm would have purpose and a real reason to bring the character back. You would think they'd put someone in charge who wants to salvage the sequel characters. That we're bringing back Rey, but this time, we're doing the character right. We're bringing you a brand new adventure separate to episodes 7, 8, and 9, and it's going to be the sequels reborn. The fans have been given no reason to care about this movie. But we have had some really massive news in the last 2 days that suggest Star Wars is really about to undergo a shift. Bob Iger stepping down from Disney is a huge step, but also they've outlined a new marketing structure. And according to Variety, this is going to affect all company divisions and studios. And it's worth noting the top contender for Bob Iger's job is Josh D'Amaro. He's had a few misfires with the Disney parks, but it might be great news for Star Wars if he gets it, because he's vowing to put the power back in the studios. Creatively speaking, this is going to mean less Disney overreach, and it was his decision last month to put original trilogy characters at Galaxy's Edge. So I know we spent a lot of time talking about Kathy's exit, what that means for Lucasfilm and Star Wars, what's going to change, if things are going to change, but I think a decision that is just as important is who is going to be Disney's leader going forward. They say a decision could come as soon as next week. That is when the Disney board is meeting, and Josh D'Amaro is the favourite. And he is someone who is known in the industry as someone who is willing to take risks. Share your thoughts on everything we spoke about in the comments down below. And if you enjoyed this video, my dear friends, please be sure to give me a big fat thumbs up, subscribe if you're new, check me out on socials, and may the Force be with you always.